Cracking your pants is the neatest thing in the world. But there's nobody from my work here tonight. Just these poor kids that I'm torturing. Anyways, thank you, Ron, for recording. I've never seen any of these recordings. I can only assume you're saving them for one time that Adam runs for governor. Is that right? Because that's going to be fun, man. I want to be there. Like, I want to be running against him, and then I'm going to give you a call and be like, Ron, you remember those recordings?
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah. You remember that one story you wouldn't finish, wink, wink? But I don't know, his wife's here, so it couldn't be that bad, right? Small towns are really strange. I live in a super small town, Atlantic City, but I had to move there because Lander was a little bit too big small town for me. The thing I don't understand about small towns is how you can keep living in them day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, and see if anything fucking new happens. You know what I mean? It's just a cycle of the same stuff over and over and over again. And it's not like one-to-one repetition. I'm not saying that every day of every year is the same thing. But I know I have walked into every single establishment that I frequent in this town and had the same conversation at least 3 times. On 3 different days, completely random days, because there is no order to my life. And yet this has happened to me. And it's so strange. Because life is about branching out, you know? Life is about variety. And yet, the most comfortable way to live with your friends and neighbors known to you is the boringest thing you can imagine. Hey, Jen, how about that weather? You know? Like, what? Spring again, huh? Yeah, I know you guys have had that conversation just as much as you have pooped yourselves. Next, I'd like to welcome to the stage one Ron Howard. He is not the redheaded, freckled child who directs movies. He's way better than that, folks. Please get him to this microphone, Ron Howard. God bless.
All right, thank you. Michael Wyatt, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the beer. This is all his product. Amy and I went up to Atlantic City one time and I saw something running through the trees. I thought it was Bigfoot with the mange. Turns out it was him running naked through the trees.
That's just Wednesday.
Vince Tropea is here tonight, good buddy of mine. He'll be coming up here to make you laugh here in a little bit. Vince is, he's an angry Democrat. He's an angry, you know what? He's an angry Democrat because his dick hangs to the right. And then Adam Kirkpatrick is here. The man has the largest big toes you will ever see. He's wearing flip-flops, so you get it's hard not to see them, by the way. I just learned that his big toes applied for and are eligible to receive commodities every month, so each toe will get a big block of cheese. So congratulations on that. So I remember when I was in high school, my guidance counselor asked me one time, where do you see yourself when you get into your mid-50s? And I thought about it for a second, and I thought, well, let's see, I'll either be doing sexual favors for drugs, or I'll find myself at Tony's Pizza doing stand-up comedy for free. So I wonder if it's too late to start doing those favors. Something cool just happened though. I auditioned for a movie, and this is a true story. I'm actually there's a movie coming to town. It's called Sleep, and it's a movie made in the Netherlands, or a Netherlands-based production company that's filming here in Wyoming. I auditioned, and it looks like I might actually have a part. So I'm pretty proud of that. It'll be nice to do something besides porn for a change. The last porn that I did was it was a patriotic porn for dyslexics. It was called In Dog We Thrust. It's a good movie. Won some awards. It was what they call the feel-good movie of the year. Made me feel good anyway. So I was driving here tonight. I was driving here with Amy. I was driving here in my oh heck, is it Porsche or Porsche? Is it? So I was driving here in my Toyota, and I got behind a couple of these Lander drivers coming down Main Street. Jesus Christ, you guys drive so slow. I mean, it's physically painful to get behind these guys on Main Street in Lander. You know, Lander is the only place I know of where you can get a speeding ticket for being parked. And I don't know if you guys heard about this or not, but they're opening and they're building a racetrack just out of town specifically for Lander drivers. It's called the Amish Speedway. So, but this reminds me, this brings back fond memories of when I was in jail. Every Thursday night we did open mic night. And I was a little nervous when we first started, you know. I'd never done anything like open mic night before, and all the older inmates would take me under their wing and they would show me how to perform, show me the ins and outs of open mic night. And I was really nervous at first, and after a while, I got pretty good at it. Every Thursday night, all the inmates would get together, we would all perform open mic night. Everybody loved it, except for Mike. Thank you very much. So I work here in Lander now. I live in Riverton. I just started working in Lander back in March, and when I come here, everybody can look at me. They can tell that I don't belong here. That I'm not from here. And the thing that gives it away is I don't walk around with a backpack all the time. I'm the only person in town. I mean, I was at Maverick the other day. I was getting gas. This guy pulls up. He gets out of his car, you know, he goes to his trunk and he gets his backpack and he puts it on, puts in his car, and he starts pumping gas, and he's just looking at me. How you doing? I said, oh, doing good, thanks. How are you? Fine. And he keeps looking at me, and then he's kind of like, I was like, yeah, I see it. It's nice. He said, I'm from Lander. Yeah, I can tell. So he just, he's finished gassing up. Then he goes to his trunk, he takes his backpack off, puts it back in the trunk, and then he just drives away. But there's one thing about the backpacks that I don't understand. I mean, what's in those backpacks that you guys need when you're walking? And if you're an old person, I can understand. You know, extra Depends undergarment, catheter leg bag, maybe, if you need it, but you know, if you're young, I don't understand what it is. Another thing is I don't have one of those Sound of Music walking sticks that I see people have. I don't have one of those. I come from Riverton. I don't belong there either. I don't fit in at all, mainly because I don't back into every parking space when I go to the store. You just automatically tell I'm not from there. Also, I don't have a four-wheeler in the back of my vehicle wherever I go. Which is kind of sad. I mean, how sad is that you have to take, you don't have enough faith in your own shitbox that you have to take a spare vehicle wherever you go. Have you noticed they're all Fords, too, by the way? Yeah, I know. I could have said Dodge and got the same reaction, probably. So, as you can tell, I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm Native American. It's nice to see other Native American faces in here. Thank you very much. Yes. I was arguing with a Native friend of mine not too long ago. He was talking about how much better we have it, how much better we had it like 150 years ago, 200 years ago than we do today. And I said, well, maybe in some ways, but I think we have it better now than we did 200 years ago. And he disagreed with me, and I said, all right, I'm going to do some research. So I decided I would go out to the middle of nowhere and live for like 2 weeks traditional, like we did 200 years ago. So I got me a horse, went out in the middle, I named him Yellow Snow, by the way, went out to the middle of nowhere. For 2 weeks, I lived traditional, I ate traditional, I dressed traditional, I had a teepee, I fished, I did all this stuff traditionally. And I came back 2 weeks later with the conclusion that we do have it better. We had it better back then for a lot of reasons, but we have it better now for a lot more reasons, and for one reason in particular. Have you guys ever tried riding a bareback horse with just a loincloth on? Nothing between you and the horse except for a little piece of leather? Now I know why we screamed everywhere we went back then. Oh, Jesus, for 2 weeks after that, I'm walking around like a monkey that ran out of toilet paper, you know? Anyway. So, so yeah, I'm full-blood Arapaho. I'm proud of that. I'm really good. My wife is not native, and I see that a lot. You know, a lot of natives are marrying outside of the native realm, and that's kind of cool. I was on the reservation. I was on my way to powwow the other day, and I met this guy who was half Arapaho and he was half Jewish, which I'd never encountered before. So I'm driving along, and I see up ahead there's a car broke down on the side of the road. And I pull over, me being the nice guy that I am. I get out, and I didn't know this guy was Jewish, but there he was, standing on the side of the road, flailing around. Before I could say anything, here he is. He's going, "Can you believe this? Can you believe this? I paid $12 for these retreads, and the damn thing didn't last me 6 months. Here I am, in the middle of the highway, on my way to powwow. I got a back seat full of kosher taco meat and fried bagels going bad. I think I got cramps from that toilet seat from that casino down the street. And to top it all off, these occiputs of my moccasins are killing me. Oy vey. In it." Being Native American, I'm proud to say that I used to have one of the best and coolest res runners. Deanna knows what I'm talking about. Res runners, res rides. They come in a variety of colors, mostly rust. But I had classic res runner. It was a 1963 Dodge son of a bitch. Went from 0 to 60 whenever it wanted to. Sometimes when I wasn't even in the car, it would just start up and start chasing cows through the pasture. Couldn't open the windows though, because they were painted shut. Anyway, I love that car. Had to sell it after 600,000 miles. Sold it and got the cheaper version of the Dodge son of a bitch. It was a 1973 Plymouth Bastard. So, my birthday's in a couple of days. I'm going to be 55 years old. Thank you. 55 years old, my God. It's, you know, I don't mind getting older because when you stop getting older, that means you're dead. So getting older is kind of, you know, I like getting older. 55 isn't bad, but I don't think I look 55. I don't feel 55. And I think for as long as I'm alive, I'm still going to act like a young man, like an immature, probably.
You said young man already.
Yeah. Yeah. But I don't know. There are times when I do look 55. I get up in the morning and I look at my face in the mirror. Sometimes it looks so bad, I don't know if I should wash it or wipe it. But being older, things are starting to kind of break down. I'm a preschool teacher, and we have these chairs that are about this high, and I can sit in them okay, but getting up is getting hard to do. One of the things that happened to me, and I was still in my 40s when this happened. When I was working one day, I went to the bathroom and I was peeing blood. This is a true story. And I wasn't in any pain or anything, but I thought this must be one of the first signs of getting old. You know, I'm peeing blood. I don't know. Any older guys? I don't know if that's normal or not, but I went to the doctor. Mom said, no, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. We'll talk after. So I called my boss and I told him, I said, yeah, something's wrong with me. I need to go to the doctor. He said, okay, yeah, no problem. So I went to the doctor and I had a CAT scan and an MRI and ultrasound and all these things. They couldn't figure out what it was. So I went to one of my follow-up appointments, and what happened was they had me scheduled for something called a cystoscopy. You guys know what that is? Oscopy is the key suffix here. Yes, I'm a teacher, and I said suffix. Oscopy. Anytime it's oscopy means they're going to go inside somewhere and look inside of you. A cystoscopy is where they take a camera and they ram it up inside of you, and not in a good way. And it goes up into your urethra and into your bladder. So I said, okay, I've had some invasive procedures done before. You know, I've had endoscopy and what's the other one? Colonoscopy, yeah, thank you. Were you the one who did it, by the way? Yes, that ass looks familiar to me. So anyway, so I went in, and the receptionist said, yeah, you're scheduled for a cystoscopy today. And I said, okay, I didn't know what it was. So she takes me back to the exam room. The nurse will be here in a minute. I sit down and I'm waiting. Here comes this nurse. And she's a very beautiful, sexy looking nurse, right? She's got big eyes, is the best way I can describe it. And then I start feeling a little uncomfortable, because here's a beautiful, sexy woman that's going to manipulate my junk, and not in a sexual way, and that made me feel really uncomfortable, really awkward, right? It was like watching disabled people in a porno, and my mother caught me. But anyway, so she comes in, she says, okay, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to put some betadine on it and some topical numbing agent. What would it be? I don't know. Lidocaine? Something? Yeah, okay, thank you. Thank you, nurse. And then we're going to take this thing. She showed me the scope. It was a long, black, sleek-looking thing with a light and a camera on it, and it's flexible. We'll put some KY jelly on it and we'll put it up there, and then we'll take a look. I said, how long will it take? She said, just a few minutes. I said, okay. So then, here's a gown. I'll give you some privacy. And I thought, wait a minute. You're going to come in and manipulate my junk here in just a couple of minutes. How much privacy do I need? But she left. I put on the gown. I couldn't just dangle my pants around my ankles and just lay back on the thing and let it happen. By the way, there was also a screen right next to me that I could watch the show. That was kind of cool. So here comes the doctor. He explained the thing for me too. And so he puts the betadine and the numbing agent. It was cold. I felt that, but I didn't feel anything going numb. So he takes the thing, and I think what he did was when I couldn't see it anymore, he switched from that black, smooth, sleek-looking thing to a boar brush with a light and a scope on it, because that's what it felt like when he started going up inside. I didn't ask if it was going to hurt, because doctors always lie to you. Is it going to hurt? Well, you'll feel a little bit of pressure right in here. It's going to sting a little bit. No. On a scale of 1 to 10, this was like 62. But he was going up, and I was like, my God, how long is this thing, you know? And another thing is, when a man is physically threatened in his junk area, it happened to me. When a beautiful woman comes in and she's going to manipulate you, a lot of times a guy will get excited, right? Not me. The exact opposite happened. And my turtle went into its shell, if you know what I mean. To the point that I felt like it was inverting itself, and I was like an instant woman. It was almost like they had to like pop a pimple to get it to come out to stick the thing. Anyway, so he gets about halfway up. He gets about halfway up, and I'm looking, and I can see it's like I'm walking through like this dark, like a mine shaft, you know, on the screen, and he stopped and there's like this big blue vein on the inside. He goes, oh yeah, that's the whatever vein, I can't remember what. I was thinking that this was where the blood was coming from, but it looks healthy. Let's just keep going. So it's like, oh my God, Jesus Christ, it's hurting. My eyes were watering, not because I was crying like a bitch, but because the physical sensation was causing my eyes to water. I was sweating, and I was shaking. Finally, we got to, oh, here we are. We're in the bladder, and I thought it was going to be an open clearing with grass and aspen trees around, and a moose over here grazing in the grass, but no. It looked like the inside of a white Walmart shopping bag. And there was nothing in it. It was all wrinkly. And I thought, that's not what I thought a bladder was going to look like. Anyway, it was flexible. And so it was, you know, let's go up, let's look up, let's look down. And he was going all the way up. He said, well, it looks perfectly healthy to me. I don't know what the deal was, why you were bleeding, but you look healthy now. So then comes the journey back out. And he's pulling this thing. And he's pulling this thing. And it was almost like as I'm seeing it coming up backwards through my urethra, I almost feel like there's going to be a T-Rex chasing me as we're coming up this, you know. Anyway, he pulls it out. He pulls it out, and then I felt like this sensation that I had to pee, and it was like if I stood on top of Gannett Peak and I screamed as loud as I could, I have to pee! That would not equate the amount that I really had to pee, but I knew I didn't because it was empty. And after they were done, the doctor and the nurse, they get up and they leave, and I felt like I had just been raped by two very nice people. So, they gave me a pill, a prophylactic antibiotic pill, and then as I'm walking out to the parking lot to my car, I looked like the first victim of a zombie apocalypse, moaning and groaning. I get out to my car, and for the next 3 hours, I sat on the toilet, feeling like I had to pee. And I didn't. I mean, and it was like that for days. When I did pee, it was like somebody lit the fuse down here. It was horrible. So, guys out there, if you've never had this done, don't do it for fun. But if you want a sensation, if you want a physical, like a visual, to see what it feels like, what you do is you get on YouTube, you find a video of a blacksmith that's pounding the end of a red hot rebar. Imagine that's your dick. And that's what it feels like. Anyway, that's my time. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Michael Wyatt, come on back here and introduce somebody else. Thank you, everybody.
Ron Howard, everyone. Ron's been turned down for more acting jobs than any of us even know existed. He's soon to be super famous because he's going to be in the Dutch production. I gotta hand it to you though, Ron. You're a hell of a guy. Thanks for coming again.